Hey there, welcome back. So in this tutorial we're just going to keep going on this admin login stuff, and right now if you remember, we've got the the login page, and it's also been included in my admin page, and down here in our content we have that if we are not logged in we'll display the login page, if we are we get the admin panel. So one thing I forgot to do last time, if we go to the login form, you notice with the submit button we gave it a type. We did not give it a name, so I just need to name that, and I'm just going to call it login. So I'll just resave that page. And on the admin page we're just going to do a little check to see has somebody clicked on that. So we're just going to say if is set, and then remember that was being posted from that form, and that button was called login. So if that is set, in other words somebody has clicked on the login button to come to this page, we should go and check and see if their username and password combination matches what's in our database. So I'm going to do that 3 steps to run a query. So I'm just going to call it login underscore SQL, and I'm going to select everything from the user table where the username is equal to, now because this is a string it needs to be in apostrophes, so there goes my first apostrophe. Then I'm going to need to stop the query temporarily and concatenate on the username that they entered in the form. Then I reconcatenate, restart up the query with the speech marks, and then close the apostrophe, which is then the closing apostrophe to go around the username. And the password also has to match. So password equals, again it's going to be a string, so it needs the apostrophe. We're just going to close the variable here so we can then just concatenate on. Now we don't want to concatenate on just the actual password that was posted through, we want to encrypt it. So this is, we're going to use the inbuilt SHA-1 command in PHP, and in brackets the thing that we're encrypting is their password. And then we need to reconcatenate on the end of this, so we'll restart the actual string for the query. We need to put the closing apostrophe there, that'll go around the encrypted password, and then finally we can close down the query there with those speech marks and finish with the semicolon. Next line is we run the query, so MySQLi underscore query, and remember there are 2 parameters. The first one we're using that DB connection, database connections string, and the second parameter is the actual query itself. Now that will run it. Now what we want to do really is check and see how many rows there were, because if there is more than 0 rows, that means that there is something in the database that matches. So another little if statement here. If MySQLi num rows, and the thing that we're counting is the login query variable, if that is greater than 0, that's our condition. So if there are more than 0 rows in this variable, then we want to activate that session. So I'm going to say $sign underscore session, and we'll create this one, we'll call it admin, and I'm just going to call it something, actually, you know what, let's actually give it the we'll call it make it match the username. So what we'll actually do is we'll just finish off the 3 steps of that query. So we'll go login underscore res, and we'll create that associative array just so we can get the information out that we want. And the reason we're going to do that then is because the actual session itself, which I'm calling admin, I'm going to make that equal to something in that login res array, and that is the username. So the good thing with that is that you will then have, if you have different users later on, you can say welcome user 1 or user 2 or whatever their name is. Okay, so that ends that if statement. So that's if it's true, it will do that. However, if it's not, so else, what we're going to do is we are going to redirect this page back to itself, but we're actually going to send an error. So I'm just going to say error equals login because there was an error with the login. Okay. And the reason we're doing that is because then our login form can pick up this error coming back and display a message like incorrect username or password. Okay. So we'll just save that. So there's a little bit of code to do this. On the login page, I'm just going to in between the password and the submit button, just put a little bit of code in here. Oops. We're just going to say if the error is set, so $get error. So if that thing there is actually set, then I'm just going to echo something like incorrect username or password. So that's just a little bit of feedback for the user rather than just having the login form refresh with no feedback. So let's just test that and see if it works. I'll just refresh this. Here we go. So if I make a mistake with my login, all going well, there we go. We get this feedback. You can see up in the URL we get the error coming through. There's our message. If we log in successfully with admin and admin, again, all going well, when I submit this, what this should do is run a query on our database to see if there is a user that matches the username of admin and a password of the encrypted version of my password, admin. And if it does, then it should log us in. And good. Now this has activated the session, and therefore we now have access to our admin panel. So in other words, if I go back to our code, there was a row in this variable, therefore it has activated this session. And further down on our admin page you can see this is saying if the session's not set, obviously show the login, but if it is, show the admin panel, and that is what is now happening. So far so good. Our next step, I guess, is to probably put a logout link there in our control panel, and then we will start to build some functionality into the back end of this site. Righto, see you next time.